Good morning. This is Gabriel Raam speaking, and I'm going to speak about verse number 17 in the book of the Tao. I'm doing interpretation, and until now I did 16, and I'm going to do today 17. With me is Danny, and hopefully we'll have some dialogue about it. So first of all, I will read it, and I will read it, and then I will ask your commentary.
Okay.
What do you think of it? The very highest, if barely known. Then comes that which people know and love. Then that which is feared. Then that which is despised. Who does not trust enough will not be trusted. When actions are performed without unnecessary speech, people say, "We did it."
That's a big riddle.
It's a mixture between ancient Chinese and ancient Egyptian.
Yes.
Plus some hieroglyphs in it. Yes.
I found the order of the very highest, then which people love, and the order is very interesting, and I don't think I would have ordered it myself like this.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that people mostly know what they fear, but
Okay. So first of all, I see here three parts. First part is what he says about the very highest if barely known, and then know and love, and then fear, and then despise. Then the second part is one sentence: who does not trust enough will not be trusted. The third part is when actions are performed without unnecessary speech, people say, "We did it." So there's three parts. Now let's look at the first sentence in the verse. The very highest, if barely known. Then comes that which people know and love. Then that which is feared. Then that which is despised. What do you make of that?
that he is ordering things in the way people perceive reality. I think that the very highest people are not connected with it, and they don't know what it is. It's a total mystery to them. Then there are things that they love, which they know. Then they things that they are afraid of, and then there's things that they despise, but they.
Well, basically you say what is said here, the
Yes.
other, but we're talking about meaning. Okay, let's take the sentence, the very highest, if barely known. I would read it like that. The very highest, if barely known.
Hmm.
That's the way I find to
Okay.
read the sentence. So what it basically says, definitely he writes in encryption, and he writes very, very concentrated. If the high is known, it's barely known.
Yes.
So what we learn from this, there is a way for the high, and this is to know the high. But very few know the high, and if they know it very little.
Okay.
So the very highest, if barely known.
Yes.
So the approach is to know,
Mm-hmm.
but it's very difficult. Not many know the highest. He's talking about the highest.
Yes.
So saying, let's start from the highest of all. The way is to know, but it's not much possible.
Yes.
Then he said, then comes that which people know and love. What does he mean, then comes that. He goes in lowering order. So if we spoke before about the highest, now we speak about something which is not so high. And how you come to that, you know it, and to love it, and you love it. Okay. So what we learn from this, that the higher there is, the less there are emotions, and the more there is knowing.
Yeah.
The lower it is, the more emotions come into it.
Yes.
So basically he's saying the way to approach the high is through pure wisdom.
Yes.
Now this stands in very much contradiction to a lot of teachings, mystical teachings, which I know something about. One of the ways to call the Sufi teachings is the way of the heart.
Yes.
And they very much talk about to love God, and they chant on and on and on this thing of loving God and all the rest of it.
Mm-hmm.
The same with Kabbalah. Kabbalah is also talking about the way of the heart. And I spoke with another person the other day, and he told me that there is consciousness and there is soul, but the way to get to the highest is through the heart. And what he's saying here, he's saying if you want to get to the highest, the heart is not a good way, because if you put the heart in, it will make it lower. Now, how can we understand that? If you want to approach the higher, you should come unbiased. You should come unpersonal. If you like, you should come without you in it, because it's something which is above personal aspect.
Yes.
And the only way to come to something so high is non-subjective, through pure knowing.
Yes.
So there is ability in a human being, and part of him, which is called consciousness, to have knowings which are just knowings. Emotions being put into knowings is a kind of pollution.
Yes.
Because imagine that you have a compass that you want to measure the north, and then you have another magnet on the side, which causes the needle of the compass to tilt.
Yes.
This is how emotions are in relation to knowing. This is one of the reasons why in hospitals they do not let doctors operate or diagnose their relatives.
Yes.
Because the compass of their analysis will be tilted by their emotions.
Okay.
So I think what is good for doctors is also good for approaching the high.
Yes.
I have something to say about this. There is this famous thing that Moses went up Sinai mountain to speak to God, and he came with the commandments, and he saw people dancing around the calf. Well, I think the calf, the golden calf that people dance today, is the emotions. Emotions become the thing that people are dancing around. Everything which is causing people addiction or stimulation has got emotions into it. But if you want to advance to something higher than you, emotions are too subjective.
Yes.
To be able to approach something which is above personal.
Yes.
So the emotions, if you use them, will bound you in yourself in the end. If you want to transcend yourself to something higher, the emotions will only bury you in you.
Yes. I know there is a common objection, I think, of people, and I think what you're saying is that some people think that you have to be pure subjective in order to reach God, and you're saying you're totally unsubjective.
What is to be pure subjective?
To be authentic, maybe.
Well, to be authentic is very good, but I don't think God gives a shit about us being authentic. I mean, if you approach, a prime minister,
yes.
he wouldn't say, listen, it's important for you to be authentic.
Yes.
He would say, listen, I've got certain requirements, certain demands. You can be authentic until tomorrow. I don't care if you are true to yourself and you like to smoke hashish. Here, you behave according to the rules of Prime Minister. If you can't put your habits and your personal things outside, you're not allowed. So it's clear that the higher you go, there's a series of sieves
Mhm.
where you become more and more neutral
Yes.
and less personal.
Yes.
And there's nothing more personal than the emotions.
Yes.
So I would say that when you approach the highest, emotions is an excess luggage
Yes.
that you should leave behind, and the last thing people want to leave behind their emotions,
Yes.
because they are addicted to their emotions. Emotions becomes the substitute for real living. Life is there, but we need our own drug
Yes.
about it, otherwise life is not enough for us. Life is not injection will cause us to jump. This is only life, but we need the invigoration of emotions
Yes.
that go into it.
Absolutely.
So I think people suffer from injection of too much powerful emotions in their system. The emotions is too much of a powerful drug to be running free and wildly within the veins of people. Should be issued moderately. Then, after know and love, the next stage, then comes highest, less high, then comes that which is feared.
Which is a more powerful emotion than love.
Very powerful emotion, but then he switches to negative emotions.
Yes.
So he's saying, okay, so you've got knowing at the top,
Yeah.
then you got love, which is emotion, but it's a positive emotion. Then you get fear.
Yes.
With fear, you can't approach something very high because it's a very, very powerful emotion. The more negative it is, the more powerful it is.
Yes.
And the lowest is to despise.
Wow.
So saying, if you despise either you or someone else, forget about God. No entry for people who despise.
Yeah.
So the more powerful is your emotions, the more negative is your emotions. Usually they both go together.
Yeah.
No soup for you. Okay. Then we have the second sentence. Who does not trust enough will not be trusted. Okay. What he's saying here is saying, okay, let's forget about those who know and love, those who fear. He goes back to those who manage to know the highest, who manage to grow neutral consciousness, who manage to work on a wish to have pure wisdom of what's going on.
Mhm.
He said, but there is one problem to do with this. Knowing is not enough. You should trust that there is something higher than you, that if you cease your emotions, because basically he's saying emotions are no good, something else will come in their place. What he's doing here is something psychological, because people are very afraid to divorce from their emotions.
Yes.
They are afraid if they wouldn't have excited emotions in them all the time, they will fall into emptiness.
Because there is great uncertainty.
Great uncertainty, and they are afraid that without emotions, they will be dead inside. They will be swallowed by big depression
Yes.
or being emptiness.
Yes.
And he's saying here, trust. If you manage to decrease your emotions and to know something higher, it will come to you, and it will come instead of your emotions.
Yes.
If you will trust, you will be trusted. Something will come and connect you. So it's actually unfolding here a whole process of personal development.
In a few short sentences.
He says, of course it's my interpretation,
Yeah.
he says you should know. In order to know, you should decrease your subjective emotions.
Yes.
But then after you decrease your subjective emotions, you should trust that instead of these emotions, the energies of life will take its place.
I have a question that I want to ask you. Do you think that you need to trust in order to diminish your emotions, or
No. Well, people are afraid to get rid of their emotions because they think that their emotions is what life is. And if they, if you come to someone and say, what do you think will happen in you if you stop to have powerful emotions? If your emotions will be decreased by 90%, what do you think the answer will be?
boredom, I think.
I will die inside.
Yes.
They're mistaken to see the weeds of the emotions as the flowers which are growing in the garden. Now, we can't grow the flowers. We can only grow wheat. It's a very powerful sentence. The one who can grow flowers is God.
Yes.
If we allow him. Now, the flowers will not grow as long as there is wheat. How do you know it's wheat? Everyone has got emotions.
Yes.
Everyone has got wild emotions.
Yes.
Everyone's emotions is not controlled. And people are more addicted to their negative emotions than to their positive ones.
Yes.
So you should decrease it and trust that if you make room inside, something will answer. And the thing is, it's a bit like an artist. He created something beautifully painted. Wakes up next morning, he looks at the paper, nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So he can go to have a drink, and he can go to have wild sex, and say, nothing is there. But he should be with his emptiness until the muse of inspiration comes through. And if the artist wouldn't trust that he will be connected to something through his emptiness, he wouldn't be an artist.
Yes.
So we should be a womb to the forces of creation. And for that, we need not to say, oh my God, I don't have emotions. Let's have an injection. Let's have a drama.
Yes.
They're saying, no, wait. It's okay. Stay with low emotions. Something will attend you.
Yes.
Then we come to the third sentence. When actions are performed without unnecessary speech, people say we did it. So he's basically saying this. He says, if you decrease your emotions and you go only by neutral consciousness, and you trust something higher than you, then you will be able to do.
Yes.
But really to do.
Yes.
Because people are not really doing anything. They're not changing anything. They're not causing anything. In order to cause anything, you need to be first. In order to be, you need to be attended by something, because you can't be with your ego. You can be through the vacancy that you open in you, that something will attend you. And if something attends you, you are full of power and you want to perform, you want to do.
Yes.
So he's saying, when actions are performed, so knowing, trust, actions.
Yes.
If you know, if you decrease your emotions, then you need to trust, because if knowing is without energies, it's empty. So you need to know and to have energies. In order to have energies, you need to trust. If you have knowing and energies, you can do.
Yes.
Which means you are effective in your life. You go around and things happening. But he's saying, when actions are performed without unnecessary speech, because you killed your ego, you're not going around saying, it's me, look what I'm doing. He's saying, high people are naturally humble, and they will not praise themselves. Then what will happen? People will say, we did it.
Yes.
So other people will take the credit. So the destiny of high people
Yes.
who know and who trust and are able to do, that other people take the credit because they don't have the public relations
Yes.
to stand for themselves. So how do we solve this riddle? I tell you, they need around them people which follow them, which help them to protect them from other people taking the credit.
Yes. These high people need they need people outside.
They need.
Yes.
Because if he is really high, he's without ego. If he is without ego, he will not do and saying, I.
Mm-hmm.
He will do and be quiet. He will be satisfied by being effective.
Yes.
And then other people who come to listen to him,
Mm-hmm.
other people who will read his books, will take from him,
Yes.
and they will make it their own. And they will glorify with the stuff that they got from him.
I think this is an amazing interpretation. So actually the wise person or the sage has an interest for other people to take credit for the work he did?
Does he have an interest? No, he doesn't have an interest. What do you mean he has an interest that other people will take credit? They have got interest.
Yes.
See, there is nothing new in this world unless a person is connected to something higher than him.
Yes.
Only high forces and high knowing can produce something new in art, in literature,
Yes.
all the rest of it. Because there are people who create because they've got talent and they destroy themselves. This is usually what happens, what Gurdjieff calls subjective art.
Yes.
Very few people create objective art, 10%, because they worked on themselves. What is coming through them is real and not a result of the imbalance of their emotions.
Yes.
When it happens, it's something completely new that shakes what is happening around.
Yes.
But these kind of people, for example, can sit in a little room, a little town, write a small book that will send 100 copies, which will have an explosion in it, be highly effective.
Yes.
But because they don't drink and they don't have scandals, it will go unnoticed because people usually don't recognize quality.
Mm-hmm.
But there are shrewd people with a nose that actually recognize that there is a bomb there.
Yeah.
So they will take the stuff, they would leave the credit out, and they will say, we did it.
Amazing.
You look
shocked.
Shocked. What is the shocking aspect?
Well, I was absolutely sure that you were going to say that people take credit for themselves and glorify themselves, but
They do.
see.
The
Yes.
people who take from the one who...
I was thinking that you were going to say that people take high energies that go through them and say that they did it.
But he already worked on his emotions.
Yes.
He already decreased his emotions. He's without ego.
Yes.
That's why he can't do it with unnecessary speech.
Yes.
Because he doesn't need self-glorification. For him to be able to do
Is enough.
is enough. He is content within himself.
That's amazing. I think this is so hard to do. It's so...
Yeah, okay, I tell you what, we can continue the conversation, but I think for the sake of... I think we ended this transmission, number 17. I didn't set the date today.
Today, the 23rd?
No, 24th?
'25th.
25th, how time flies. Okay, 25th of August 2009. Thanks for watching. Okay, so people basically do not live like that. They do not live in a sort of a philosophical acceptance that this is life, what comes comes, what goes goes, one moment I lose, one moment I... We identify so much with the fact that this should be good, and life should be excellent, and every bad thing which happens is a major crisis, and we're living it with great intensity. And I wrote on that something a few years ago in his book, and the piece is called On the Unbearable Vibration of a Soap Bubble. From moment to moment, our life is happening like drops out of a tap, which are absorbed in the ground from moment to moment. A chronological sequence of isolated moments like grains of sand, grain and another grain. All the great sand platform is made from little grains. So is our lives, made of grains, made of moments. Every moment our life is happening. Every moment is rising or falling by the excitement it carries. From moment to moment, like in a lottery, like in roulette. Every moment is going to be or going to be done. And as though life continues on, every moment our heart surges, going to explode like this moment is everything. And every moment there is great drama. The heart is going to explode, so much it carries emotions. And all these heightened emotional moments are just soap bubbles. Bubbles. Expanding and vibrating and filling our lives like an eternal flood. Like a sea which is going all over in a bubble. All our life are stretched from a bubble to bubble, quivering with every expansion of the present bubble, quivering with desire, quivering with joy, quivering with fear, quivering with curiosity, quivering with lack of confidence, quivering with hope, quivering with the pressure of what might happen in the next moment, quivering from the presence of other people which maybe are quivering just like us. All of us are soap bubbles that do not know that the more they quiver, the more they shiver, so comes closer the moment when the speed of the quivering will be so strong and so fast that the ability of the soap bubble to handle it and to contain it will not be able to carry it anymore. And when it happens, when the soap bubble cannot carry the intensity of the quivering, will come to an end the life expectancy of the soap bubble. When the excitement is too big for the ability of the soap bubble to hold it. And there will be a short explosive noise, and the bubble have exploded. The moment is gone. An opportunity ended. Little life ended without coming back like never been.